Our friend Steve Gaito has joined us again on Talk of the Town. He's a certified financial planner with Retirement Resource Management. Hey, Steve, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Well, you're not doing so well because you said you're up in North Carolina in your office and the air conditioning is not working.
Phew. It's a little warm, but we'll make it through. At least it's cooler outside, so I can go outside and get a break.
Okay. So let's just jump right into the planning, of course. And you have said before, your portfolio is really not your retirement plan. Can you explain that again for us?
Yeah, and that's really kind of the challenges is it's the difference between complete and incomplete. You know, through most people's career, they were used to saving money and the market fluctuation actually benefited them. And when they get ready to retire, you've got to look at more than just a portfolio. You've got to look at how you create income, how you deal with long-term care, how you transfer that money efficiently to your heirs, and really what impact taxes will have on it. So it's a lot more complicated than most people make it.
And you guide your clients through that process, don't you? Of course, the planning process. What are you spending? What is your income? What are you spending every month? How can we reduce your taxes? Which is really critical.
Well, taxes and market volatility can wreck income in a very short period of time. We look at what's going on right now with the market fluctuation, and that's impacted people that are having to rely on a portfolio for income. It's one of the reasons why I always try to solve for income first with assets and make sure that it's a recurring income that you can't outlive. And that takes one of those big variables off the table.
Right. Now, when someone wants to talk with you, to get advice, how does that process work? Do they just go to your website and you do a Zoom with them, or do they come in your office, or do over the phone? So how do you actually begin working with a client and then advising them through this planning process?
Yeah, I provide everybody a free initial consultation. That's where we sit down and we kind of get to know each other. I want to make sure it's a good fit for me and for the client, and so that I can actually help them. And from there, we'll actually look at where you're spending money. You're going to have some homework. If we choose to work together, you're going to have to, as you're aware, have to create a budget, which isn't always the most pleasant thing in the world. But once we do that, then we can figure out how we actually create the income part of your retirement. And that's really where the challenge comes in for most people, is that's where that portfolio doesn't necessarily mean income.
And when you do counsel and advise folks, do you sometimes have to tell them some tough news to say you need to reduce spending here, or maybe you need to get a part-time job? I would think that sometimes that could be kind of a difficult conversation.
It is an uncomfortable conversation, but a very necessary conversation. As I tell folks, if what you thought to be true turned out not to be true, when would you want to know it? And the same is true for people that have a problem. If I told you you're getting ready to fall off a cliff, you would want me to tell you, stop. Right. And so I try to do the same thing. As the numbers are the numbers, and we will work within the parameters of what you have. And a lot of times we can solve those with just some minor adjustments to what they have.
Right. Now, I'm going to ask you to give us a little forecast of what's going on in our inflation world and the market and all of that. What's your gut, Steve, as we move forward over the next 6 months, would you say?
Yeah, I think we're going to see interest rates continuing to go up, which is, positive news for retirees and people that have money in a savings account. For the rest of us, it's really not great news because that's going to contribute to inflation. Right. And so it's going to be a real difficult balancing act, I think, for most. So energy prices are going down a little bit, but we haven't really hit, the fall and winter when heating oil becomes a demand. Right. And I just think people have pulled back right now, and that's how they're dealing with it. So I don't think it's real positive, but it is what it is, and we just got to plan for it. And for retirees, hopefully we've dealt with it in a positive way where the income's going to increase as like Social Security does. You get a cost of living adjustment. You want to have things that ratchet up with inflation.
Always good advice. Thank you so much. Steve Gaito with Retirement Resource Management, and the website is retirerm.com. Thanks, Steve.
Exactly.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.